All right, VaSilly Fisk here, and you can see that my hat is Fisk. Okay, and then the rest of it belongs to a Swedish outfit, and you can figure out how to say it. But I wanted to tell you that this is Fisk, and my name is VaSilly Fisk. Let's see, I've got my Batman t-shirt on. Batman. Yeah. I'm going to have a cup of tea. Let's see. Now, I also had a tuna sandwich. When I make tuna sandwiches, I take some celery stick and chop it up. If I have green onions, I like to. I had them, but oh my goodness, they had gone terribly rotten. So I threw them out. And then I like Miracle Whip, a lot of it. And then I added mustard. I had some rustic mustard and some yellow mustard. And then you take a fork and you mash it all up. And then I had it on brown bread. And I sliced it diagonally and I ate it. And there's extra in the fridge in case I'm still hungry. And I am a little bit peckish. Now, everyone knows I'm a metaphysical defective. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Now, I haven't been drinking or smoking wacky tobacco, but sometimes it sounds like I have, but it's just tea, I assure you. It's just tea. You can look. It's tea. Yeah, it's tea, and it's cold tea, too. I make tea, and then I have to microwave it 10 times because I forget that I put it down, and I forget that I have made tea, and then I'm off busy doing something else, detectiving. And then I look, and then it's cold, and then I microwave it, and it gets hotter. Sometimes I forget it in the middle of the microwave, and I go looking for my tea, and then I discover I make another cup of tea, and then later on I'm about to go and microwave some noodles or something, and then I find my old tea. I want to say I'm kind of a doddering old Brit. Now, at Fisk and Chernyenko Metaphysical Investigations on Carnaby Street in London, where our offices are, this was close to where Stewie Wilde had his jean shop. He had a shop and he sold lots of jeans. And then he took a cigarette boat. And I don't know if he went all the way across the ocean. Probably not. I don't know exactly how he must have, I don't know, he must have got one of those steel container things. And he sent it from Carnaby Street at Canary Wharf, and which is Canary in North American English, but in Brit we call it Canary. And it's canary is also yellow. It's a color of yellow paper stock. And then anyway, he took one of these steel bins and he put it on a ship, and he sent it to, well, I'm going to guess it might have been Colombia, and landed it there. And then he got a cigar ship, the cigarette ships that in Miami Vice, Don Johnson, etc. They use these cigarette boats to chase one another around in the Caribbean, if you're Corporal Klinger out of MASH. And Stewie Wilde took a cigarette boat, and then little by little, in other words, he had to empty out his steel container, and he couldn't fit it all onto his cigarette boat. So he took boxes of jeans. And this is a strange tale because it has to do with Venezuela. And everyone knows that all these strange consternations are going on always in Venezuela. I don't know what it is about Venezuela. Anyway, they had a rule and regulation, a very high tariff on fancy pants jeans. And Stewie Wilde wanted to get them into Venezuela because the Venezuelans wanted fancy pants jeans. Everyone knows that Venezuelans they always win Miss America, and they're always gorgeous creatures. Anyway, so he took a cigar boat. I'm not sure the difference between a cigarette boat and a cigar boat. I don't know if one's bigger or smaller, or if it's a color thing. I don't know. Anyway, Stewie Wilde took all these weans and landed them on the shore of Venezuela, and then he had his local agents come and pick them up. And they bypassed paying the tariff to the Venezuelan government, whoever that was back in the day. So now he was a metaphysical teacher, and he basically said it's perfectly fine for you to ignore the government tariffs and just smuggle as much as you want. He was an old fool. Because you have to pay attention to man's laws, some other teacher said. I think it was Peter Mount Shasta who did I don't know, it was the Ascended Master at Mount Shasta, and he was Peter Mount Shasta. Anyway, he's another strange bird because, like we tried to talk to him on Messenger, and then he blocked us, and then, well, it gets all so complicated. Anyways, Dewey Wild landed all the genes and send them off, and he didn't pay the tariff to the Venezuelan government, and all the people got their genes at a reasonable price. That was the problem, was the tariff was so high that no one could afford jeans at all, so they're running around wearing tapioca all over themselves. I don't understand. Now, on Carnaby Street, in our office, we've got a cat. Her name is Isis, and she is a black Siamese cat, and she wears a little string of pearls around her, and no one knows anything about her except me. I got her from Gary Seven, who brought her from a long distance. You have to watch an episode of Star Trek, the original series, to figure out who Gary Seven is. And he had a secretary, and he had this cat. And this cat was the secretary. I'll let the cat out of the bag. But the secretary was a shapeshifter. And once in a while, she would shape herself. Now, where am I going with this whole story? I don't want to tell. I told it in another story. Now, I'm trying to do metaphysical investigations, and no one has rang me up to say, I need you to jot some information down so that you can do an investigation. So, if you see my video, you just put a comment down there and you say, VaSilly, I need to talk to you about a certain thing. And then, we can go from there. Let's see. There are so many things. I've been beating dead horses. I don't want to go on and on and on and on about the same items. Let's see. So we talked about the Venezuelans. So there's a whale in Venezuela. And everyone knows there's such thing as Venn diagram. It's something to do with engineering studies on efficiency. So Venn diagrams, whale, then is es. What's an es? Nez. A nez is like those little funny glasses, pinch nez, the little tiny glasses without arms on them that sit on your nose so you can see. Nez, whale, whala, la 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 la. Everyone knows la 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 is Los Angeles. Venezuela. And then there's the man, the president is named Maduro. Mad Magazine, Mad Euro, there it is. Everyone knows about the Euros and Brexit. Strangely, we found out that Greenland, who is some kind of a minor dependency of Denmark, which is part of the Euro community, decided that they didn't want to be part of the Euro, and they had a Brexit a long time ago. Because, well, we won't tell you why, but it had something to do with... No, we don't want to talk about it. Anyway, they bailed out. Now, so we were talking about Maduro, Mad Euro, or Made Euro. Okay, so how is he making euros? I don't know. Is smuggling, probably. And then there's a new man that Donald Trump has appointed president. And I have to look up to see what his name is. I don't know. Just bear with me. I've got two phones here and the Googleizer. I'm sorry, I was looking up Stephen Tintin Duffy. We used to be singing songs. Okay, now. Who is Donald Trump's new president of Venezuela? Okay, his name is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Oh, is that the one? That's somebody else. Oh my goodness. No, that's incorrect. It's recognizing Juan Guaido, as he was the Venezuelan opposition leader. So how would you spell that? Bat guano? Guado. Gue. Well, there's in the middle of it, I immediately see AI, which is artificial intelligence. And then it reminds me of a dojo. It's like a keto dojo, AIDO, a keto dojo. And the beginning, I already said it was bat guano, GUA. And then it's like Guai, which is Haida Gwaii, which is the old Queen Charlotte Islands off the coast of British Columbia, Canada. There's a UA, and that's United Artists, so it has something to do with movie making. And we've been saying all along this is a Wag the Dog movie that was Dustin Hoffman way back. Okay, and the first name is Juan, which is John in English, and so it's Jew. So there's JU for Juan is Jiu-Jitsu, and I already said it was Aikido, wherever, how you pronounce that word, Aikido dojo. So you've got Jiu-Jitsu and Aikido. So this guy is definitely a martial artist. And then I've got two United Artists. One has got a UA in it, and so does Goado. It's got a UA in it. So it's double United Artists. So it's really emphasizing that this is a Hollywood picture. And then there's a Anne at the end of Juan. Anne, like Anne of Green Gables, Anne Boleyn, Henry VIII's wife. So anyways, I'm still seeing... there's an easy in Venezuela. Zu. I don't know what a Zu. Zuela. Who's a Zuela? Zuli. Zulu warrior, maybe. It's a very funny word at the end of Venezuela. Zulu. Maybe there's Zulu warrior in there. Anyway, so that's how I try and figure out what these words are. And if you looked at Donald Trump, well, there's true in Trump. There's a rump in Trump. Everyone knows he's got a fat ass. There's an ump, so that's an umpire. And then there's a trumpet in Trump. So I don't know. I mean, everyone makes him out to be an idiot. Even Quincy Jones said he had limited mentality, but he's got some interesting names in his last name. And then everyone says, you know, his family calls him the Donald. So it starts off with dough, which is like dojo, or it could be dough, like Homer Simpson goes dough. So it could be dojo or dough. And then there's an on, flipping the light switch on. There's an ald, as in Auld Lang Syne at New Year's, so it's Old Donald. Nald, I don't know what nald means. Null. Null almost sounds like null, as in vacant or a zero. Null. Nalu. Nalalu. It's a place. It's a little tiny place. I'm not going to tell you where it is. You can look up Nalalu. No. Oh, no. Dald. Sometimes I just drop the middle of it and I go like Dald. Almost see like Donal looks like if you change the N a little bit to an R, it becomes a Doral, which is a very expensive small boat. You know, like a fiberglass, very nice high-end boat. It's not a ship, but it's a boat. Dorals are very nice ones. So, which has to do with his money. So he's an umpire. He's a trumpet, rum. He's he says he doesn't drink, but everyone knows that he's got a postnasal drip. Everyone knows if you're driving around a cigarette boat, it's because people are chasing you because you're smuggling cocaine. I don't know. I think that's all we get with Donald Trump. Anyway, that's how I metaphysically... This is a... I'm not going to tell you. I've told you in previous lectures. what this is called. It's a Frenchman who does literary criticism. That's all you get in this one. Now, socialism is another word. Social is like sock. It's like sock hops. Or soch. It's like the old, in the 50s, they had the soches and the greasers in the high school. Soches were more, I don't know, they were alcoholics. Social is OC is Orange County. CIA, there's a CIA in socialism. Isn't that interesting? Everyone knows the CIA is working on all sides. There's a IA, Internal Affairs. Muhammad Ali. And then it goes with the LIST, which sounds like either Lisp or Sonny Liston, who was a prize fighter. And there's a Cialis in the middle of socialism, so the socialists are definitely popping pills. Everyone knows what Cialis is for. Anyway. Sealism. So again, I was talking about whales in Venezuela and seals in socialism, so it has something to do with water, and everyone's using water to smuggle things into socialist Venezuela. All right, I think I've done enough here for now. What else can I tell you? Oh, as far as my Batman t-shirt goes, well, if I just open it partially, it's AMT. And first I was thinking it was AMT is like amped. Amped was like it was a video game, Amped, and it had to do with skateboarders, Amped. And then there was also the Amped Bible. It was like another version of the Bible, Amped. In other words, they were trying to goose you with the English they were using, Amped. Amp has to do with giving more current in your wiring. And if you have too much current, then you can burn out your wiring. Amp is different than voltage. Voltage is the amount of pressure, and amp is the amount of current when you're talking about electricity. And you can also run a lot of amperage through your human body. It's called consciousness energy, chi, mana, prana, ki, reiki, some of the names that they use. And if you don't have your chakras or chakras all cleaned out and spinning at high vibrational frequency, and you run a lot of conscious energy, vibrational energy, high vibration energy through here, you can burn your body out. So that's why you have to have all your chakras balanced. It's like getting a wheel balancing. And you can use crystals. So then you can go onto the internet and you can go and have a test done, which asks you questions about your life, and it'll tell you which chakras or are out of balance. Or you can go and see an energy healer, different kinds of energy healer, quantum touch, Reiki healers. There's probably other ones, and they can help you. You can go to a float tank where you sit in not super hot water, but comfortable warm water. It's full of Epsom salts, pounds and pounds and hundreds of pounds of Epsom salts, and the salt pulls all the crap out of your body and you feel wonderful. So I do encourage you to look up the float tank in your area and go sit in it for 2.5 hours. And I guarantee you it'll feel much better. So I think that does work on helping clean out your chakras. You can cut Aka cords or Aka cords, AKA. You can look up Aka cord cutting on the internet and do a ceremony for that. You can ground yourself, grounding in nature with bare feet and bare grass or mud. It's very good. You can go for a Finnish sauna. And You can have a nice sweat in a sweat lodge. All these kind of things. You can be smudged with different kinds of sage. You can put on essential oils onto your different chakras. Use your intuition or just go look it up. See which ones are good. And I have a whole pile of essential oils that I use. And it's strange, maybe it's not strange to you, but it was to me originally. But my crystals, I've got some of my crystals here. These crystals, I've got a little amethyst and I've got 2 quartz. And these crystals like to be coated in essential oils and different ones at different times. You have to play a shaman and talk to your crystals and, offer them different things. Sometimes they like to go in a salt bath. You just put them in, a little beaker of warm water and add just table salt if you want, and let them sit and ask them how long they want to have a bath for it. And sometimes they want to be rinsed out in cold water. You have to ask them what they want. And they don't always want the same essential oil. And, sometimes they want to be put into a cloth bag or a velvet bag, or sometimes they just want to go by themselves and go and sit in your pockets. And sometimes they want your right pocket or your left pocket. Or if you've got jeans, I've got jeans, if you can see. It's kind of dark in here. But this little pocket up here that you can put, like change into. Sometimes some of them want to go in that one, right around. And this is an old thing that we talked about a long time ago. It's called Serry, S-E-R-R-Y. And Serry is a word that means traveling through different spaces. So going around, sometimes they want to go for a walk, or they want to come, if we're going to go to various places in the car and they want to come along, we call it a Serry. And when we go on a walkabout, I've talked about before that we change timelines. We go from different variations of planet Earth and going through timelines, changings, and going through different physical places in these different physical versions of Earth. It's called Serry, and roxicles is what we call them. They like to be called roxicles, and it comes from popsicles, and they're roxicles. And they like to serry, and sometimes they'll serry vast distances. I had many other stories I told before about serrying roxicles. Now this other one, this is a stone, and this stone had been marked with a pen and it's all come off. This stone came from Mykonos, which is a beautiful island in Greece, and this one doesn't like to be oiled. At least so far, it never wants. It's a rough stone, and it doesn't want to be smoothed with oil. And pretty much it doesn't like to be cleaned or anything. It doesn't really like to go in salt baths, at least not so far. And what we do is we just rub it on, we rub it on the skin, and it feels good. You can get a good rubbing. And it's like, we call this one, it's the CB. Now back in World War II, I'm not sure if they belonged to the Navy or the Army or the Marines, but the CBs were the ones that went around, and they had to go and use, what do you call those things with a plow on the front? Great big tractors with plows on the front. And they would go on to the sand, and they would push sand around, and they would make big embankments. And quite often they did it while they were under fire. They were being fired upon, and they still did their job. And this is what this does. It goes and I rub it, and it's a CB, and it goes and it basically moves everything. It flattens everything out. And then after it's been there then I go in with, maybe with a big crystal, and I go and I dig in and I feel if there's any sore spots in there, and I can feel there's like some itchy. Sometimes it feels itchy. Itchy is not a good sign. It means that it needs to be crystalled. I can feel different spots that are kind of itchy in here, and sometimes that one is too big, and then I get this little amethyst one. He's got a sharp end on him, and I use the sharp end and I go in and I press, and I see like it feels punky to me. It feels like it's just kind of punky, like punky wood, what rotten wood, and I press in there, and then sometimes I'll find a very sore spot, and this one it'll go and touch the sore spot, and I'll move it around until all the sore is gone. And that's what I do. And this is called Choogling, which is a song, Keep On Choogling, by Creedence Clearwater Revival. And we were doing this kind of crystal work. And the song came on and everyone went, oh, we're going to call this crystal work Choogling. So if you ever hear about Choogling from us, that's what it means, using crystals to do some healing work on the body. Okay, well, that's your update. Once again, I'm VaSilly Fisk. Fisk and Chernyenko, please leave your comments as below, like and share, and hit the little bell thing 2 times if you want to be updated with new videos.